Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a huge question in software architecture.
Okay, let's dive right in. So many of us have seen this happen, right? A software system starts out simple, but as it grows, it just becomes this tangled, fragile mess. Why is it that large systems become so hard to change?
Well, the core of the problem lies in how we think about software. When a system gets big, it's not really one system anymore. It's actually a bunch of different models of reality all forced into one box. And when those distinct models get all mixed up, communication gets confused and the software becomes, well, unreliable and buggy.
So if the problem is these mixed up models, how should we be thinking about our systems instead? Exactly. The very first step is a really crucial mindset shift. We need to stop seeing our software as just code and start seeing it as a model of some piece of reality. For example, your online banking app. That isn't your actual bank account. It's just one specific model of it.
And what's really interesting here is that your bank teller, well, they see a completely different model with different information. And the accounting department sees another one still. The problem really starts when we try to force all these different views into a single unified model for the entire system.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, combining everything sounds simple at first, but it just leads to chaos. So, is there an approach that helps us manage all these different models without creating a complete mess?
You know, there is. It's an approach to software design that is built to tackle this complexity head-on. It's called domain-driven design, or you'll often hear it called DDD. The central idea is to just stop trying to build one giant model for everything. Instead, you focus on the different domains or context within the business, and you create a specific, tailored model for each one.
That sounds really powerful in theory, but how does it actually work in practice? I mean, how do we physically draw the lines between these different models?
Right, and that's the crucial part. DDD gives us a really specific tool for drawing those lines. Let's take a look.
And that tool is called a bounded context. You can think of it like a protective wall or a bubble around a specific model. Inside this boundary, a term like customer has one and only one meaning.
You know, for anyone familiar with relational databases, a great analogy is a database schema. Just like a schema provides a clear, consistent structure for one part of an application's data, a bounded context provides a clear, unambiguous model for one part of the business domain.
And this leads to another brilliant idea. Inside each of these contexts, the team develops what's called a ubiquitous language. This is a shared vocabulary that everyone, and I mean everyone, from developers to business experts, uses. This totally eliminates the confusion that happens when one word means different things in different parts of the business.
And this brings us to probably the most important shift of all. Instead of obsessing over shared database tables, you start asking, what does the service do? What capability does it provide? The data it needs is almost secondary to the capability it offers.
Okay, so this whole approach, separating models, focusing on what things do, it feels like the right way to manage all this complexity. But what's the real-world payoff? Why should teams go through the effort to work this way?
The payoff is absolutely huge, and it all boils down to two things that we often think are opposites: speed and safety.
When you draw these boundaries correctly, using bounded contexts, you get services that are loosely coupled and highly cohesive. And what does that mean? It means teams can work on their own little piece of the system and deploy it independently without breaking everything else. And that is how you achieve the real goal, making changes with both speed and safety.
And that right there is how you can finally stop your growing system from breaking. If you found this explainer helpful, please take a second to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. If your services are just models of reality, how prepared is your architecture to change when reality itself changes? Thanks for watching.